The Florida Gulf Coast was shrouded in a heavy, humid haze. Danny Gumbo leaned against his old pickup truck, surveying the sleepy town that had been his home for years. The salty breeze whispered secrets, and the warm sand underfoot held countless untold stories. Danny had been a private investigator for longer than he cared to admit, but these quiet coastal towns had a way of drawing him into their mysteries. It had been a while since he had taken on a new case, and he was content to let the days drift by. That is until the phone rang in his cluttered office. The voice on the other end was shaky and desperate. "Mr. Gumbo, you've got to help me. I've been accused of murder," the voice said. Danny recognized the voice. It belonged to Clyde Bennett, a local fisherman known for his troubles and late-night brawls at the seedy bars by the docks. "What do you want from me, Bennett? Last time we met, I had to bail you out of a bar fight," Danny grumbled. "I didn't do it, Gumbo, I swear. My business partner, Eddie Squid Sullivan, is dead, and they're blaming me. You have to find the real killer," Bennett pleaded. Danny sighed. He wasn't eager to help Bennett, but he couldn't ignore a desperate man's plea. He agreed to take the case. The next day, Danny paid a visit to the local police station to offer his assistance. He found himself facing Detective Susan Walker, a sharp-witted officer known for her ability to solve cases that stumped the entire department. "Gumbo, you couldn't stay away for long, could you?" Susan said with a smirk. "All right, we'll let you help, but don't think for a second that you're in charge." Danny nodded. "I know the drill. So, what can you tell me about Squid's murder?" Susan handed Danny a case file with crime scene photos and witness statements. Squid had been found dead on his fishing boat, a knife buried in his chest. The murder weapon was believed to be a fillet knife from the boat's kitchen. Clyde Bennett was the prime suspect, and the evidence against him seemed damning. Danny looked through the files and noticed that the murder weapon was a peculiar choice. It was heavy and not something a fisherman would typically use. He sensed something fishy about the whole situation. "I'll start by talking to Bennett and getting his side of the story," Danny suggested. "If he's innocent, he might have an alibi." Susan agreed, and Danny set off to find Clyde Bennett, who was living in a small, ramshackle house near the docks. Bennett was a disheveled, jittery man, his eyes darting around nervously as he spoke. "Gumbo, you've got to believe me. I didn't kill Squid. We had our differences, sure, but I'd never murder him." Danny pressed Bennett for details about the night of the murder. Bennett claimed that he had been at a local bar, drinking away his sorrows, and he had witnesses who could vouch for his presence there. Danny made a mental note to check on those alibi witnesses. The witnesses confirmed Bennett's story, and the bar's security camera footage corroborated his alibi. With Bennett's alibi seemingly solid, Danny shifted his focus to Eddie Sullivan's life and the people he might have crossed paths with. He discovered that Squid had been involved in an intense feud with a rival fisherman named Tony "Tuna" Marino. The two had argued over prime fishing spots and had even come to blows more than once. Danny paid a visit to Tuna Marino's boat, a rusty, weather-beaten vessel moored at the far end of the docks. Tuna was a hulking man with a permanent scowl, his arms thick and weathered from years of hauling in nets and casting lines. "I didn't kill Squid," Tuna growled. "We had our disagreements, but I wouldn't go that far. Besides, I was on my boat the night he was murdered." Danny decided to check Tuna's alibi, and it turned out to be solid. He had been at sea, fishing with a crew of witnesses who could vouch for his whereabouts. As Danny continued to investigate, he uncovered that Squid had been secretly dating a woman named Isabella Delaney, a stunning beauty with a reputation for being a temptress. Rumors swirled about her involvement with various men in the town. Isabella's house was perched on the edge of a small canal, and she welcomed Danny with a seductive smile. "Mr. Gumbo, what can I do for you?" she purred. Danny asked her about her relationship with Squid, and she admitted to their affair. She claimed that Squid had been planning to leave Clyde Bennett and run away with her, but he had been killed before they could carry out their plan. The case was growing more complex by the day, with each lead taking Danny in a different direction. As he delved deeper, he discovered a web of secrets, jealousy, and betrayal that cast suspicion on multiple individuals. The coastal town was not as serene as it appeared on the surface. In the end, it was a series of anonymous letters sent to the police that revealed the truth. The letters pointed to a jilted lover, one of the witnesses who had provided Bennett with his alibi. It turned out that the witness had lied to cover up Bennett's involvement in Squid's murder, as he had been in love with Isabella Delaney himself. With the witness's confession and the anonymous letters, the police were able to arrest the real killer, clearing Clyde Bennett's name. It was a satisfying conclusion to the case, but Danny couldn't shake the feeling that the Gulf Coast harbored more mysteries than he could ever unravel. As the sun set over the water, Danny stood on the dock, watching the gentle waves lap against the shore. The mysteries of the coastal town were far from over, and he knew that the next case would be waiting just beneath the surface, like a hidden treasure buried in the sand.